we've been talking about IRA now for 2 years since the legislation came out, and Andy was certainly been part of these conversations as well. Of there's a lot of measured versus modeled conversation, right? And I think what hopefully I hope we've moved to more of a measured and modeled conversation, because that really seems to be what we're talking about. And it's really interesting from our viewpoint as an implementation firm. We really recognize the 80% similarities between the two approaches. So if you think about what we do a lot, obviously, when we're implementing a program, but one of the core functions that we're interested in is processing rebates, confirming that all it's fully compliant, and then once compliant, paying that rebate to the contractor or customer or whoever the actor is, the aggregator, whoever the actor is in the program that has carried that rebate with them. So to us, measured and modeled, you're always going to hit a moment where many things are the same, and then it's our role to confirm compliance and pay that rebate. So if you look in the next slide, there's an old video out there of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs getting interviewed together, and they confirm that actually there's a little bit of Apple software in the original, or sorry, a little bit of Microsoft software in the original Apple IIe. And it's just sort of interesting. You always think of this, Apple versus Microsoft piece, but in fact, in the early days, they sort of worked together. I feel it kind of reminds me of this. It doesn't feel like there's that much difference. If you think of the time of the assessment, Andy can speak more to this, but I think without question, if you're going the measured path, you're going to have to do some modeling to at least understand the potential of the home to save, right? So that you can plan for what those measured savings at the end, a year after installation, are going to be. And then obviously you need to model the home with BPI 2400 modeling tool for the measured path, for the modeled path. That's where the incentive is. And it determines the incentive, what you model at the home. Makes sense. And then you would think, okay, well, then a year post on the model path, I don't have to measure. This is not true. It's very clear in the guidance that there is a 70% realization rate threshold that the program needs to meet, which means you need to be using measured data and understand measured data to see if you're reaching that 70% threshold of actual savings. And if not, you need to take corrective action. So here we are all of a sudden in the same place where we're doing some modeling in the beginning and doing measured measured data 1 year after. The main difference between the two being about when the incentive is paid and how the incentive is paid. And I think if we look at it in that light, we sort of realize that we're just working on and workshopping and having the opportunity to think about when that incentive is paid and how it affects the market and what's the best place for it to be in the market going forward. And that's why at CLEAResult so happy to promote both the modeled and the measured path, because we're very comfortable with either from our position.